First, we have to determine the balanced equation. So to write the balanced equation, you have strontium chloride, and from our solubility chart we can tell that that's aqueous, and that reacts with rubidium iodide, and from the same solubility chart we can tell that that is also aqueous, and then those react to form strontium iodide, and that is aqueous as well, again from the solubility chart, and that also forms with rubidium chloride, which is also aqueous. So to balance this, we can determine that there is 1 strontium chloride, 2 moles of rubidium iodide, 1 strontium iodide, and 2 rubidium chloride. So then what we have to do is we have to convert our given gram values into moles of our reactants. So to do that, we have 84.79 grams of strontium chloride, and we divide that by its molar mass, which we can determine from the periodic table by adding all of the elements together, and we can determine that that is 158.52 grams of strontium chloride. And then when you divide that, you get 0.5349 moles of strontium chloride. So we have to remember that value, so I'll write it down here. And then we will have to do the same thing for the other reactant, rubidium iodide. So to do that, again, we write the gram value. So for rubidium iodide, it's 52.13 grams, and we divide that by the molar mass, which we determine from the, or we find from the periodic table by adding together the elements. And we can figure that is 212.37 grams, and after dividing that, you get 0.2455 moles of rubidium iodide. And we will remember that value again. And then, just like we did in the practice problem, we can determine the limiting reactant by dividing our mole values by the coefficients of the reactants. So we divide 0.2455 moles of rubidium iodide by its coefficient, which is 2, and from that we get write it down here, 0.1228 moles of rubidium iodide. And then we'll do the same thing for the other reactant, strontium chloride. So we take our determined mole value, strontium chloride, which we said was 0.5349 moles, and we divide that by its coefficient, which is 1, so we just get 0.5349 moles of strontium chloride. And again, the value that we got for the rubidium iodide was 0.1228 moles of rubidium iodide, and then the limiting reactant is whichever one has the lower value. So here we can see that the rubidium iodide has the lower value, so that is the limiting reactant.